Hello, hello, and welcome back. We are here to do another story. I thought I would try to shuffle these in a different way. Taking the original cards and kind of feeding them all the way into the rest of the cards. That way we've got the front of the story and the back. Oh, golly. So I think I'm just going to have to I did cut some of these, some of them. I cut the plastics down. To make them easier to shuffle. I don't understand how that shuffling works when you do that. Because aren't you kind of just moving the front to the back? Okay. These are the tops. So I want to combine this top to this bottom. And this top to this bottom. I'd say that was pretty blended in, right? So this week has been kind of interesting for me. I was forced to not do my main job for a few days, and I'm telling you, it was probably the best thing ever because I needed some time to do the things that I have been putting off while I was doing my main job. And I kept saying while I was doing my main job, oh my gosh, if nothing changes, I'm not going to ever be able to do the things that I needed to do in order to be able to progress. So it's like, one, be careful what you're thinking and what you're wishing for. And two, go with the flow of things and know that everything always works out the way it's supposed to work out. And I'd say that would be in any circumstance, regardless of how dire it seems. The way that you handle it and the way that you maneuver and live through it is part of the life lessons that one may have. So if something is upsetting you or frustrating you or whatnot, there's a lesson in there, because we're not meant to live in a state of frustration or anger or being upset. We were meant to live in a status of love and peace and kindness and positivity. But of course, I'm not saying that one's anger can help motivate somebody to make the changes that they need to make. Right? We all get to decide how we want to live. Thinking these can go up here. And these can be... You don't want to waste your energy on things that aren't productive. Your feelings are valid for sure, and you want to respect those. But you don't want to deplete yourself in the process, because then if someone has done something to you, you're just allowing them to win even more, because now they've changed your whole state of mind. Right? All right, bottom of the deck. We have the overall energy is the camp card. People with the same kind of thought process, mentality, people who all kind of reside together or understand each other. They spend time with each other out in nature. It could also be a solo trip where someone wants to get away and kick their feet up and focus on the sky and the stars above, hopefully having that opportunity to make a wish. I know I saw a fallen star, I mean, a shooting star the other night. Maybe it was a fallen star. And I thought that was super cool. But then I saw someone posted a video, I think it was on Facebook, about this huge fireball that was just rambling through someone's porch. I don't know if it was AI generated or whatnot, but I found that was very interesting. I'm like, well, maybe that's the star or the fireball that I saw falling down. And then there was other people who were commenting on it saying, oh, that's just, you know, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ, all that stuff. So I was like, I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't know what it was. But I found the timing of it interesting. I wonder why it's not working. All right, you guys, we are back. I am hoping that everything is going to turn out okay. I had to stop the filming earlier because I realized that my little timestamp wasn't, I couldn't change it to the words because my Bluetooth is out on my phone for some reason and it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So I've been spending all this time trying to figure that out. All right, I'm feeling like I need to shuffle these. So I wasn't able to get it fixed and my battery was down, so I'm charging the phone instead of using the microphone. So there is a time lapse. This is Awakening the Artistic Seer. So I guess I'll just have to say it from now on. I did shuffle these again just because I felt the need to. We had the camp there on the, was the first card out. I believe that was the bottom of the deck. And I'm just going to place these out so that way we can look at them at that point. We've got recidivism, someone's going back to jail, or maybe someone's being threatened to go back to jail, or maybe this camp of people is going to jail, or they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. We've got a light bulb. We've got side eye. This is one of the new ones. We have diamond. Facial hair. The trumpet. The number 1, which was in our third row last time. So these are the first 7 cards. We'll go ahead and do the 7. I'm splitting the deck. And the card at the deck is our Aquarius card. And then we've got the SE Actual Energy, which I'm going to leave, which is very transparent. Water shows transparency, right? It's also the Aquarius card, as I said, so there could be some Aquarius that is seeing that there's someone that is very transparent, very authentic. They're actually positive. Even in their SC actual energy, they're a positive person. Your sacral chakra is where your creative flow is at. It's where your energy is stored. Things of that nature. So we've got this light bulb. Someone has an idea. Maybe someone has an idea to send somebody to be incarcerated. Maybe they have an idea that they don't even want to participate in the activities that have been going on because they're not wanting to go and be incarcerated. Recidivism is the amount of times the person is returning to jail. I just had the thought that they are probably approaching people who are in the probation program, or people who could be involved in drug dealing or things of that nature. They're probably approaching those people and soliciting them to help them in their efforts of whatever they're trying to do. And they're probably saying, you know, either you help us or we're going to send you back. Or they could be offering them some kind of payment, as far as like maybe diamonds, jewels, some kind of monetary gain, something of some importance. They could be applying pressure to them in order to grow their team or their army, so to speak. The trumpet is an instrument that is blown when they are trying to gather people together, and it also is blown to make a statement that war has begun. As I said, they could be trying to entice people with some kinds of riches here, and so now these people who they've approached with this idea are now all side-eyeing the money that could be involved or to be had. So they are literally trying to grow their army against this one individual. Classy. Just saying. Okay, our next row. We've got the croc. We've got tools. We have a busy bee. We've got the busy beaver dam. Those little beaver dams are, I mean, the beavers are really, really hard workers. We have juggling. Cabin. Bull, which is also the Taurus card. So we've got this croc here, could be from the south. I'm thinking swamplands and things of that nature. The croc is also notorious for helping evildoers get rid of evidence so that it can't be found. And if there is no evidence to be found, then of course you can't have someone held responsible, right? Croc is also a crock of poop, or it's probably just a bad idea in general. They're working with an empty toolbox here. They don't have very many tools in the shed, so to speak, meaning that, you know, maybe their EQ is quite low. EQ meaning their emotional intelligence. Not saying that they might not be smart individuals as far as academically or whatnot, because in order to concoct plans or do what they're doing in this case does take some sort of intelligence. But as far as their emotional intelligence, I would say it's probably a little bit null and void. Again, and that has to do with having an empty toolbox. Maybe no one taught the individual, or maybe someone is so far damaged within themselves that they don't even recognize the damage, perhaps, and they're just kind of acting out like a child would, right? There is help for that in case anyone is suffering from that. I'm going to say it again, to harm another individual purposely is not normal, and it is not healthy, and it is dysfunctional, and it requires help. So please reach out to the proper people in order to help you with that. Or if you're dealing with an individual like this, the same is true. That person needs help, and it is not your place, if you're not a professional, to assist in that. And it is also against psychologists and psychology and therapists honor code, for lack of better words, that they're not able to provide therapy to family members and people they're close to. It's just not ethical. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's just not a good idea. So you could always guide that person to someone that maybe you know is of high standard. If the first therapist does not work and the personalities don't mesh, you can always find another therapist. They all have different ways of guiding people to things. Then we have a busy bee card here. Someone is very busy. Maybe there's someone who's, I'm happy to report, maybe there is someone who is busy trying to fill their toolbox, because it has a honeycomb on there. It's got the beautiful roses on there. The bees are flying towards that, the roses, to get their nectar and to pollinate and to grow and to go fill those beehives to protect their queen bee, right, and to nourish that queen bee. So that's positive. Hopefully they stay the course on that. There could be someone trying to block those efforts. There could be someone trying to block someone else trying just to heal themselves in general, or to even be successful. The beaver is a hard worker, and the beaver is going to build their dam by the things that they find around them. They are resourceful, and I've even seen videos where people have beavers in their home, and the beaver will go ahead and collect little items around the house in order to cause to build a dam in the house, even though there's no water to be found. Super cute. This person who needs the help, or needs the guidance or whatnot, they could even be trying to barricade themselves. They may not want the help. They may be trying to avoid or pretend like it's not wrong what they're doing. Maybe they're juggling their feelings and emotions behind it. Maybe they just are needing a vacation, and they're going to the cabin for a vacation home. Or perhaps they're trying to block someone finding the evidence that might be located in a cabin, or in a wooded area, or in a second home, or in an Airbnb, or in some kind of other property or other kind of building structure. They could be trying to juggle all of these parts, and they may be having a hard time. The bowl is also like the bowl in the china shop. I do have a card in here that would initiate or indicate a china shop, perhaps, and that's not out yet. But the bowl with the crock we've got on either side of the row, it's just a bunch of crap, folks. It's BS, and it's a bunch of crock, right? Yeah. We've got less than. Someone's feeling kind of less than at the moment. Let me do the whole row. Hollywood is probably more of a concern for this individual, or to be well known might be more of a concern for this individual. The production could be more important. Maybe getting rid of someone who is different than most. or getting rid of someone who is of higher knowledge. UFO can also be, you know how they will come and they'll come and pick up somebody who happens to be in the woods or whatever, and then they bring them up into their ship and then they take them off. That kind of thing. There's a long list of people perhaps that has happened to. Be mindful. Just be aware of your surroundings. Always keep your eyes up. Don't spend your days walking while you're walking, like looking at the ground. Always be mindful of your surrounding, what's around you. And considering that that's underneath the rose card, and I've also been seeing a lot of videos about how people are leaving roses on people's cars for people to kind of pick up, and then they smell the rose or they touch the rose and then they end up passing out. So that would be their avenue to bringing this person into their spaceship. Be mindful of that. There might be a wrench in somebody's plan of doing that, and maybe they're juggling the plan. We've got the hamster wheel. We've got a vehicle. Could have something to do with someone's vehicle. There's a wrench in somebody's everyday. Maybe they're missing their vehicle, considering there's no drawing of a car here yet. Maybe it has to do with someone who's a Taurus and their car. We've got create here. Cactus. Creating a real prickly attitude. Or maybe they're making up a prickly attitude. Dry emotions. We've got turn back with the red flags. Considering that's underneath the UFO, that's kind of important. Also with the cactus, it could be desert land. Maybe it's not the right time to go to somewhere where there's desert land. Ball and chain, that's a heavy weight, that's being restricted, that's being weighed down, that's being slowed down. We've got the frustration with the blocked out. So we've got the blocked up here as far as the Beaver Dam, and then we've got the frustration about being blocked out of accounts. We've got the caged heart, again with being isolated and being isolated. We've got the caged heart, and then we also have the recidivism up there in the corner. And that's also underneath the hamster wheel, which a hamster spends its days in a cage, right? If it's a pet hamster. We've got this plunge here. Someone's trying to work their way up the ladder. Could be about something about waterboarding. Something's being used for something other than it was intended for. Birds are, especially geese, are a sign of communication coming. Falling from great heights. Diving in, feet first. Taking that plunge into maybe this kind of world where these kinds of things happen. Next card out is the rest in peace card. Pretty much that's what's going to happen if someone makes the wrong choices here. If they don't pay attention to those red flags, there's going to be some kind of transformation that's going to happen. Nobody knows when their last day is. We all have our appointment time. That just goes without saying. Considering I just tossed that down, I know but it's right next to the croc, right? So there could have been a rest in peace moment, and it was fed to the crocodiles. I don't know. I just learned that there's big fires going on in Florida. That's kind of perplexing or concerning to me, because anytime I see an area that's covered in flames, kind of like how it was in California. It just seems to me that there's just evidence that's trying to be hidden, because fire purifies, right? So there's that. Next card out is the pickle. Someone's definitely in a pickle. Let's go ahead and get our word cards out. Please use discernment when you're listening to these stories. They are just stories. I don't have any kind of concrete truth to anything that I'm saying. Just be mindful. I drew the cards, colored the cards, cut the cards, and shuffled them, and I pulled them out. And that's the stories that we're getting. I would much rather have it be something more positive. We have judgment here, again, with being thrown in jail or some kind of confinement for somebody who's not making the best choice. I'm looking up at this trumpet card, and I'm also thinking about the fact that these trumpet vine flowers that are behind, those are also used to make it so someone doesn't have their own free will. There's some kind of substance in there that that is used for that. Someone with facial hair could be growing those vines for that purpose. Be mindful of your food and your drink. Until you have any real proof of any of these things that might be going on, you need to make sure that you treat people the same. Because if it's not your story and you're not being kind to people around you, then you may end up doing a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I had a neighbor who used to tell me, don't talk about stuff like that, because then you're just going to make it happen. It's like, I don't have that much control to be able to make something happen like that. Either it's happening or it's not happening. And if I'm wrong, I'd rather be aware of my surroundings, oh my goodness, versus being oblivious and allowing things just to happen. So we've got a star here. Maybe there's judgment coming upon a star. We do have star there in the campsite as well. We've got a bunch of cards that fell on the floor. I'll bring them up the way they fell. We've got lady on top of ground and 6. So there could be a lady in the ground. Or there could be a lady who needs to ground. But it does say 6 ground, so it's like 6 feet under in the ground. There's a lady, a star. Maybe they're talking about Maryland there. I don't know. We've got build here. Under that we have isn't quirky, but they're inspiring. So quirky means kind of unique and original and a little bit, you know. So, and then there's a win. We've got, they're not part of the 1%, because 1%'s upside down. And then we had these cards kind of sitting upright. There's hello, blessing. This was up like that, so watching and mole. So there's a mole in the mix who's watching. Or maybe a mole who's not watching. Or maybe there's a mole that you're not seeing that you need to see, health-wise. And maybe you need to get that checked out. Okay, that's all the cards that fell, and there's an A. Someone with the initial A. That might be a part of the situation. I had the name Amber. Oh, Amber. Yeah, I remember Amber. Wasn't that fun? Maybe you know someone with the name with initial A, first, middle, or last, or it could be even a nickname. We've got lyrics, and then we had a teabag quote come out. What does it say? When fear is forcing you to give up, call upon your heart's courage to continue. We have foe right side up on top of lady. So there's a lady who is not your friend, and it could be an earth sign considering we had the ground there. We have sage coming up on top of the 6, so it could be time to sage. The number 6 also has to do with family, stability, all the elements, or the directions rather, the north, south, east, west, up, and down. 6 is also the imperfect human as well. We've got coffee on its side here. We have tipsy upside down. This person is not under the influence. This is just who they are. We have this blocking the lyrics that are upside down. There are no more lyrics. There are no singing, no songs. We've got heart right side up, and then we've got this caged heart over here. So keep loving regardless of what the situation may be. Don't let it turn you to a cold individual or an angry individual. Keep living, keep being a positive light, because only positive will outwin any negativity that's happening right now. We've got face here. Just face it. Be comfortable. Relax. You know, mind your heart. You don't want to cause any heart issues or problems. They say the coffee card's there, and I just read an article saying that 2 to 3 cups of coffee they showed as a benefit to mental stimulation as you grow older. Decaf had the opposite effect. Definitely if you're drinking 2 or 3 cups of coffee, you want to make sure that you are doing it early enough in the day, perhaps, unless caffeine doesn't bother you through the night. And you want to make sure you're drinking all that water as well, because coffee is very dehydrating as well. We do have the sage, which is used for grounding, and sage is also used to purify the air and the environment around you. It also is able to purify, I said purify the air, but it's to the point of where it will get rid of bacteria and stuff that is floating around in the airspace. I do have to say though, there are some people who are who could get seizures when they're in contact with sage. It would trigger someone's seizures. I believe rosemary does it as well, and there's other scents also that can trigger seizures in people, and as well as drinking alcohol can also trigger seizures in people, so you want to be mindful of that. Hello, blessing. Not watching the mole. Well, if someone's a mole, and of course there's ground there. If somebody's a mole and they want to go ahead and run and tell somebody because they think that somebody's going to be able to help them out by whatever info that they're getting, then more power to them. It's not my business. That's what they want to do. By all means, go ahead and create the life that you want to live, right? No judgment here. If you feel like there is something going on in your life, I would just write it all down. Your dates, your times, what happened, what was said, what occurred, and if anything, at least you have the peace of mind in knowing that you have it documented, and you have the proof, and you have the evidence, and you have the storyline of what you need. Worst case scenario, you could always make it into some kind of story, right? With that being said, thank you so much for being here. Again, this was a story created by the Artistic Awakening, the Artistic Seer. Take care and make it a great day.